Hello, hello, Halloween. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Every day is Halloween. Good evening, pumpkins. Good evening, Kosetsu. And good evening, Nicholas. And good evening, Meow. How are we today? It's actually quite crazy. I was talking to Shinya, I think, last night about weather, and yeah, I know what a British thing to do. And she was like saying that in New York it's minus 11 degrees at the moment. I can't believe it. That's crazy. That's making me start feeling like I'm actually a bit better off. I think it's like it is raining so much, but it is only like 8 degrees, I think. You're deceased. Oh no. Please undecease. Can't have you passing out too early. We have things to do. We have stories to read. 1 second. Oh damn. I was going to show you my dinner and I totally forgot to load the picture. Good evening, Inev. Listening in. Yeah, listening only is probably fine for this. It's just going to be my face. It's not going to be very interesting visually. You need to crawl out of bed, but bed warm. Yes, crawl out of bed then. Yeah, today I made a stir fry. I got the rough recipe from internet, from Japanese internet, and I just kind of threw in every single vegetable I had in the house. Plus pork mince, which I had lying about, which was going off like, I think tomorrow or the day after. I was like, oh no, I need to eat it. It actually was good. I was surprised. That was my issue. Morning bed was just too comfy. No, same. I've had to wake up early, like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, I have to wake up quite early. That's why my streams are earlier now. And yeah, to be honest, it's not cool. I hate waking up early. And yeah, even worse when it's cold or raining. I hate rain. Which is really ironic, because yes, I know it's not very spooky vibes when it's warm and sunny, is it? But, you know, I like it warm and sunny. I was not made for cold weather. But anyway, yes, if Shinya is correct, and like a lot of America is minus 10s, I feel sorry for you guys, and my condolences. That is absolutely terrible. I hate to be you guys. Meow is relative to caveman speech. Bed has taken him. Yeah, he's going bilingual, as in bi, by all grammar. But yeah, this was good. I'll repeat it again. Though, when I cook, I kind of YOLO everything. So I might not be able to recreate it 100%, but, well, you know, I've got a rough idea of what I did, so. Warm and foggy. What? Is it warm and foggy in wait, Kosetsu, are you in America? Are you in A-base? My internet is shit also. Okay, yes, that is your internet, Meow, not me. There is no way, just the screen is lagging me out. Curse you phone internet. Oh, yeah. Man, is that your internet or is it your phone? I feel like that's your phone. Are you sure? Get out of bed and go onto your laptop. I promise you it'll be better. I don't think it's your internet, surely. This is not a very high, you know, this is not a very high, intensive stream. There is no way. Oh, ESTR, that's why. Wait, is it warm and foggy where you are? What? But yeah, you're EST, so maybe. No, because I hotspot. Oh, that sucks. So no Wi-Fi. What the hell? And it lagged same yesterday. Ugh. You need Wi-Fi at least, Meow. Like wired internet, man. I know you live in like attic or something, or like at the top or some a bit far away from the main house, right? Until I went to Mooch Internet. Oh, is that what you were doing? I see. Oh yeah, but yeah, well, Shinya was saying where she was, it was -11, and I was like, no, I do not want that. Wi-Fi doesn't reach your apartment. That's shit. That is actually shit. I feel bad for you. I can't imagine not having Wi-Fi. I don't know why it's so weak. So it's only this week. Fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, today we are reading some stories I found on Reddit that claim to be true, and we can judge them and see. Whether you like. I like warm and sunny. The fog is okay. Fog is totally fine. I think it was last year, one day I woke up and it literally was like Silent Hill outside. And I think some of my friends were working really early in the morning, like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Good evening, Leah. And yeah, they were working at like night shift or something, and he must have woken up. Or well, he must have been going back to sleep, but he was like, oh my god, I just was walking home and it's Silent Hill. And I was like, yeah, the sirens. The darkness is coming. So yeah, no, fog is fine. But I would like it to be warm and sunny. Not cold and raining. Cold and raining is like the worst combo, I think. Okay, no. In London, snow is the worst. Because it literally, even a tiny sprinkle of snow and everything goes down. How warm though? My ideal temperature is about 20s. If it goes 30s, it's not very nice unless you have AC. So, you know, up to 30. I think like 25 to 30 is nice, in my opinion. But yes. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, so we are going to read some Reddit posts that I found, that I deemed quite decent, because there is a lot out there. And I have also written one of my own that is legit true. It legit is true. It actually is. And I remember it. It's true. Whether or not you believe it ghosts, it actually happened. Whether what happened was a ghost or not is another matter altogether, but it definitely did happen. And then yes, you guys can guess which one it is. Meow's not allowed because he already knows about it. 15 degrees, no rain, bit of sun is my ideal weather. 15's a little bit cold though. Still. I like it about 20, 25. But yeah, once you get to 30 it's a bit too much. Especially if it's a lot of humidity. If it's dry heat, it's nice. Yeah. Good. It's not, it's fine. But isn't Germany quite cold as well? I have a feeling it's very sus. I have a feeling that Germany's pretty cold, so I like, because the weather's colder. I'm chronically North German, so, German though. Oh, because isn't it famous that Germans like cold and they keep opening all the windows and stuff? Isn't that a thing? That being said, once Shinya came here in like November, I think. She came in November or something. Not this last year, but like I think it was the year before she came. And it was freezing. It was like almost like 0 degrees. And I kid you not, she opened my my veranda doors and she left them open the whole night. She's crazy. For fresh air. I don't care if it's fresh or not. I am not opening the windows. But yeah, she opened the veranda. Oh my god, it was so cold. I woke up and I was like, why is it so cold? And I went into the living room where she had, because she refuses to sleep on the bed, she wants to sleep on the couch like a true cat. She literally was sleeping on my couch, even though she had a bed she could have slept on. And yeah, she apparently was hot and she opened to the door. It was freezing. We're used to dealing with the cold, especially cold weather, rain on the norm. Yeah, well, rain, yeah, especially even in England at the moment. It's been raining so much. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Today it was raining. Yesterday it wasn't raining, actually. Meow, don't lie. You like it like 10 degrees. I remember you came to London and it was 11 degrees and you were not wearing a jacket, and I just thought you were absolutely crazy. I'm calling you out right now. If it was 20 degrees, you would die. Cat moments, yes. And I was like, shit, yeah, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, well, it was a bit hot, so. And I was like, what do you mean hot? It's freezing. I've had the heating on. And she was like, oh, I felt it was too hot. 10 degrees is t-shirt weather. Totally normal behavior. I just have a feeling that Meow was meant to be German, you know? Like, how can he survive in Italy with this attitude? Anyway, I'm going to set up for the stories. Yes, I did a little bit, but I feel that's booty shorts weather. Leah, what? No, okay, you're all weird. You're all weird. You just see them on 6 months, 30 year. Yeah, I thought so. But anyway, so yes, I'll be right back, and I will set up the room. Right. I swear that thing is still very, very broken. Let me move this 1 second. I've got a candle, but the problem is I don't know. I think that's good. I think that's good. I like that. I think that's good. Right. 1 second. That's good. Turn the lights off. It's very atmospheric. What are you guys talking about? Listen, as a Canadian, I don't think it's actually that crazy. But isn't Canada got those, like, real extremes in temperatures? Sometimes it's really hot, and sometimes it's really cold. We've got a candle. Look at this candle. It's cool. I love it. I found it on the Japanese internet. That's cool. Yeah. Anyway, going outside feels like soup. Oh. No, humidity sucks. I hate it. Anyway, so we can start reading some of these stories. The first one is, well, I called it balcony. But anyway. Hey everyone, I've got a story to tell that bothers me daily since childhood, and I can't get it off my mind. I'm 17, almost 18 next month, and I've had many experiences with the supernatural, and as a child I would often stay awake all night hearing noises around me. Let me start off. I grew up in London, UK, but originally I am from Punjab, India, and I was also born there. I came to the UK when I was 3, so I basically grew up here. In my culture, there is a lot of people who tend to do black magic, and they do it around the Indian festival of Diwali, not to ward off dark spirits, but to bring them. Often, they will leave candles to burn in the middle of the street, and it is believed that anyone who is passing by will have all the sins of the person who placed the candle put upon them, meaning the other person has the passerby sacrifice for their pleasure. This is an actual event that I experienced when I was 8. It doesn't really have anything to do with Diwali or black magic, but I was staying at my grandparents' residence in India during summer holidays, and I remember that my dad was staying over at his friend's place. It was midnight, around 11 PM, and everyone was asleep except for me. The only other people in the house was my grandpa, who was paralysed due to a stroke, my grandma, and my cousin's sister. I couldn't sleep that night since I had overeaten during dinner. I was a chubby kid, and I decided to walk some laps in the corridor of the small bungalow. The moment I tiptoed out of the room where me and my grandma were sleeping, I was surprised to see my grandma standing in the corner of where an old chair lay, and I was bewildered since I swore I just saw her deep asleep in the room. So I decided to peer back into the room, and my grandma was fast asleep. My mind began to race, and I felt like I was going to faint. When I looked back to the corridor, my grandma was still standing near the fridge, smiling. I decided to remain quiet, since I didn't want anyone to wake up and get angry at me for still being awake, so I decided to walk towards the figure. The figure, which seemed to look like my grandma, started to speak and say, "You want to come and play dolls with me while standing on the balcony?" I was so surprised that my grandma was saying that, since she was always too tired or too busy to play with me, so I agreed. We walked to the balcony and where we could view the rest of the town, but it was pitch dark and all the street vendors had long gone home. I looked down the street and saw the house next to us. There had been an old couple who lived there, but had died when I was around 2 and had been abandoned. But what caught my eye was that my grandma was standing in their garden, waving and screaming at me to jump from the balcony, and she promised to catch me in time. I began to panic, and I was just about to jump off when I remembered that this is not my grandma and I was probably just dreaming, so I decided to walk back down. As I was walking back to the house, I felt something grab the back of my collar. I turned around, it was my grandma. But this time it didn't sound like her. She was screaming at me for not doing as she said, and that I was going to be punished. I used my quick instincts that I learned, and what I had learned from horror movies that I had watched, which were all 18 plus, and I decided to run back into the house and wake up my real grandma. Obviously, when I got back in, I could still feel the presence of the entity, but my grandma was just not waking up and was in such a deep sleep. I decided to lay back in bed despite all that happened. I was about to close my eyes and doze off when I saw something standing near the cabinet, with its limbs contorted and tongue out. It had long hair and a blue face. I tried not to scream, but it looked exactly what I had perceived to be a chudlali, an Indian female ghost. I don't know what happened after that, but somehow I just fell asleep and haven't told anyone I know about this since, because no one would believe me. So that's the first one. It's actually ironic that I like through the internet I found someone who's spooky story who lives in London. But yeah, so was it her grandma? Clearly not. It was a creature. I don't know what to think about this one. Like, I don't know. Do you guys believe in ghosts? As a person who really likes horror, do you guys believe in ghosts? Yeah, the ending was a little bit anticlimactic, it's true. because like I would feel like, in theory, not that I am an expert or anything, but if it was an evil entity, then like surely it would have done something to her, right? Right? Like, I don't know, but I feel like it would have. But that maybe that's just me. Not really. But yes, that was the first one. And the next one's pretty short, actually. But I thought this was pretty cool. I think ghosts could exist, but not in any place or way that we can interact with them or the other way around. I believe in things that the mind can't comprehend. Yeah, fair enough. I think I actually do legit believe in ghosts, but that's because when you do come to get to my story, and I've got a few of those kind of things, just that one's pretty good and story-like, so I picked it. But yeah, that's the only reason. So it latches onto things it does. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, the second one actually reminded me of a story my mom told me once, which I'll tell you after I read it. Yes, the second one is titled Weird Family Experience, or I dubbed it the Blue Boy. Reading posts on this board made me want to share an experience we've had in our family. When I was a teen, my grandmother had a stroke and was in hospital. I kept talking to someone in the hospital room and only called him the Blue Boy. She talked to / about him for about a year and then passed away when I was 16. My aunt, her daughter, was her caregiver and lived with her most of her adult life. About 12 years after she passed, my aunt sold the house and moved in with my family. My oldest daughter started talking about a ghost in the house that she called Blue Boy. When she said that, it brought back the memory of my grandmother in the hospital, something that I hadn't thought about for many years. None of the kids had ever mentioned any ghosts or spirits prior to this. I asked my daughter many questions, including what the boy looked like, if he talked, he did, and how he acted, etc. All the descriptions she gave matched the Blue Boy my grandmother spoke of / to. My aunt moved with my sister in 2018, as she had just taken her second child and needed help with a home due to health issues. Her oldest, who was maybe 4 at the time, started talking about a blue boy that would sometimes be in his room. Obviously, he was too young for us to tell ghost stories to, and he had never heard of stories of this blue boy because we were all too creeped out to talk about it. My aunt passed away in January 2024. Since then, no one has seen Blue Boy. Going back through family history, my aunt had a brother, my grandma's son, who died at the age of 6 from double pneumonia, which would cause loss of oxygen and turning blue. We firmly believe Blue Boy was the brother / son / our uncle, and he had attached to my grandmother and then to my aunt, with whom he was very close to as a child. Could be something different altogether, but that's what we think. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Good evening, Kosetsu. So yeah, that was pretty short, but I was like, oh, interesting. I heard so much about this. Okay, basically, like, what this story reminded me of was something my mom told me once, because when my brother was young, actually, she was in part of this, you know, those parent clubs or whatever, and she used to be, like, the parent club, they used to do, like, these magazines every quarter or whatever, and she used to be there, like, she was the editor for a while, and she was telling me that she got this it's like submission for a story from one of the other moms, which was basically, yeah, it was saying that, you know, oh, my son keeps saying that there is this person, like, he keeps seeing people in our house, and when I tell them that I'm scared, he goes, no, it's fine. She's a nice person. She's smiling at us, which made it even creepier. Okay, seems somewhat more stable now. Good, meow. Good. But yeah, that's the sort of story it reminded me of. Why is it that kids say these sort of things? Because yeah, it's true though. Like, if this is a really true story, then... So her kid was like 4. would obviously not really know much about ghosts, so very strange. Maybe it is true. Maybe it is. Okay, well, the next one. Let's see. Okay, the next one is multiple encounters while camping with friends. Okay, before I start, I swear, what is it about camping that seems to be creepy? I've heard so many creepy stories about person goes camping and, you know, all sorts of things happen. That's the reason, actually, one of my friends, he likes going with his girlfriend to, like, middle of nowhere to, like, to do camping, or, like, you know, to stay in one of those lodges, you know, in some corner of Europe. And I'm just like, you know, if you guys die, you know what, I know what happened. It's literally a horror game. Anyway. I've posted this on the normal subs, but somehow I've never visited or posted on this one. Here is an encounter that really messed my life up. Sorry to all those who have to read this in the other subs. Background. Obligatory. I know this sounds fanatical and wild, and I agree. This is fairly remote backcountry West Virginia, which is known for being old and haunted. It was experienced entirely by two of us, but the worst parts by all four. This led to all four of us at some point battling personal issues in our lives that I believe stemmed directly from this encounter. Following this, at least to my memory and what I've been able to corroborate with other people that were there, this is 100% accurate and true. When I was 17 in 2004, we had a bad experience camping near a haunted train tunnel and sites of tragic sudden death. History of immediate area around 1 square mile. Mother and son drowning in creek nearby. Old man hung himself from this dead tree that hung over the water. Cliche creepy dead hanging tree, I know. Drug dealers killed in state police shootout at nearby hunting cabin, and many years ago cheap labourers had been killed building this double set of train tunnels. They were actually buried in a long forgotten little graveyard nearby the tunnels that had since been found and restored. So the story. We decided to go camping before graduation as a group of 4, just do something one last time before we all went our separate ways in life. This is private property on the backside of a big forested hill around which the creek flows in a huge several mile long bend. Camp set up, fire going. Shortly after nightfall, my cousin and I sat on the creek bank maybe 20 yards away from the camp, spotlighting fish in the water. We began to hear a rhythmic slosh. Slosh of what sounded like someone wading through the water, maybe halfway up their shin deep. So we shined the light around the stream. We then spotted the systematically and rhythmically consistent disturbance made by what looked and sounded like invisible feet or legs sloshing towards us. When we would turn our spotlight off, it would start, and it would stop when illuminated. It was reacting to us, and this was the first ice bucket stomach clench moment we knew that this was not fish and could not rationalize what was happening. This scared us pretty badly, but we decided best to keep it to ourselves and joined the others gathered around the fire. As we made our way back, we heard the sloshing make it to where we were on the bank, and the noise stopped. Given the speed we witnessed it moving and how far it was from us when we were watching it, it must have sped up to make it to the bank we were on the amount of time it took for us to get back to camp. Others at the camp heard it as well and figured we had either gotten in or somehow riled up some fish, but we just played it off. It just sounded and looked like an invisible person wading through towards us in the water. After the noise ended at the creek bank, we all saw the tall grass disturbed as something we couldn't see around the foliaged perimeter of our circularly cleared campsite. This could have been an animal, but it was really fast. When we began to hear what sounded like a man talking to us, as in speaking into the ear of each person, the left ear if that matters. At first it sounded garbled, but after maybe 15 or 20 seconds we could make the words out saying, "We shouldn't be here and we need to leave," before finally addressing us directly and saying slightly more forcefully, "You need to leave." Obviously this was terrifying, and at first we thought there was a person or group of people out there walking up to our camp, and that is dangerous. We were all frozen with fear, but then adrenaline hit. As we freaked out and started to run to our ATV, all four of us saw a black shadowy man wearing what looked like a hat, relaxing in front of our ATV. It straightened up when we saw it, and it saw us, and it sort of hung there, staring at us for a few seconds. No feet. The legs ended in a sort of wavy lines, like looking above the fire at the heat waves. It stood out against the dark night behind it. The girls screamed, which broke our fear freeze, and it zipped like a flash back towards the train tunnels people had died in. Interestingly, when we went to start the ATV, it turned over sluggishly as if the battery had been slightly drained, despite working fine not long before when we rode it down. This entire event happened over the course of maybe 5 to 10 minutes and within an hour of the sun going down. After putting our story out there, I received a lot of feedback from people who had had bad encounters in this area over many years. Even a guy I worked with, who I didn't know knew this area, told me that my uncle had hired him to trap in that area, and it was the only place he couldn't check the traps alone at night. He said it was almost like the animals leave that place at night. No less than a month later, my uncle who owns a property was up on the hill raccoon hunting at night with a dog. At some point, the dog was on a rock face up above him and knocked a large rock loose that fell and struck my uncle in the side of the neck. This understandably messed him up pretty bad and paralysed most of his entire body, but he still had limited functionality on his left side. We could never figure out how he got himself back to his ATV and turned it around and drove himself out of there. It wasn't probably until 2 or 3 years later around Halloween, when my story makes rounds on the local Facebook groups, that my uncle texted my mother out of the blue. You have no reason to believe my uncle's character reference, but he is the salt of the earth. Hunting, farming, working man, even working past his retirement as a millionaire. Honest, funny, and just incredible stand-up guy. He's just easygoing, but also no nonsense. In my text to my mother, he said, "I've never told anybody this before, and I probably won't again. The man in the hat that the kids saw at the creek that night helped pick me up off the ground and put me back on my ATV and turned me around." Until I heard that, I had always assumed that the shadow man was the one who was trying to scare us out of there, but thinking back, maybe he was the one whispering and telling us we need to leave and possibly avoid something scary and more dangerous, though I have no idea what could have been scarier than that. Yes, and that's it. Good evening, Real. Many people died on trails and haunt them. Is that why? Is that really? Is that what happens in camps? That was quite a plot twist. Yeah, it was. Though I kind of felt like that as well when I was reading. I was like, oh, the guy whispering, because usually, like, yeah, like you don't hear of like hostile ghosts telling people to leave in a nice way, and this guy sounded like he said it in a nice way. The millionaire retired uncle is the most unbelievable part of this tale. It's the most Halloween thing you've done last week. I don't know. Every day is Halloween, so everything, really. You play a lot of horror here. But yeah, today I'm reading stories. In this economy, especially. I know, right? You like that. A helpful ghost. Yeah, helpful ghosts are good. Well, we like helpful ghosts. Right. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe this sounds more plausible. This sounds more plausible in my opinion. Like, I have a feeling the Blue Boy and this Camp 1 could have happened. Totally could have happened. The first one I'm not too sure about. Halloween all year round, yes. I remember I did an ultimate horror movie challenge. Now I can watch any trash movie with a straight face. You know what? I think the more horror you watch, the more desensitized you get. Because, you know what? Like, a lot of people say, oh wow, like, you know, Cassis, do you not get scared of anything? And I actually don't. But I remember when I was a teenager, I used to get scared. You missed the first one. Oh, it was like an Indian story about an Indian girl who went back to India, and a demon tried to impersonate her grandma. Halloween all year round, other than especially Christmas Eve, then specifically Christmas Eve. That's because Nightmare Before Christmas. Yes, yes, there is Nightmare Before Christmas. He is smart, see? Yeah, I think it's just desensitization. I think. I don't know. Anyway, right, so the next one, I dubbed this one Knock Knock. This happened when I was pretty young, like 4 or 5 years old. I still remember to this day simply because of how freaked out the adults were after this incident, and they wouldn't stop talking about it on the way home. I lived with my grandparents and mum, and my grandparents are super religious and used to do these Bible classes or something with the other adults every few months, where they would rent out conference rooms in buildings and have all these meetings or debates / talks for quite a few hours each time. And they used to do it travelling around all the major cities in my country too, so I was pretty used to being carted around, and it wasn't really a big deal. I would usually play outside the conference room or on the floor they were having their meeting while eating snacks and stuff my mother had provided me with while they were busy. This particular evening started out like any other, where we went to a pretty high building full of offices and conference halls, which was quite a nice, new, fancy-looking building with a reception area downstairs, and I vaguely remember there being a large river that ran right beside the building. My grandparents' rented room was one of the upper floors, and I was left to my own devices as usual. I got bored of being by myself on the floor my family were at, so I took the elevator downstairs to the ground floor reception area, which was pretty roomy, and where I met this small child around my age who was with his mother. I don't know why they were there, to be honest. And we started playing together, and I was having the time of my life. Around halfway through me being down there, my mum comes downstairs to check up on me, which was actually kind of weird because usually she doesn't. As I said, we've had these meetings all the time, and I was super used to being left alone like this. Even though they're 4 or 5, but you know, or whatever. Depends on the country, how safe that is. But it wasn't like she came to talk to me or anything. She came out of the elevator, peeked into the front reception where I was playing, smiled at me, and went back upstairs. I didn't think much of it at the time, because I was so busy playing with the other kid. But then a short while later, my mum comes down again, and this time she introduced herself to the other kid's mum and asked the lady if we had been down here the whole time. The woman confirmed that this was the case, and she nodded and said okay, but that I had to go upstairs now. I reluctantly agreed and said bye to my new friend. And when I got upstairs, my grandma was fussing about something to do with me, and I remember hearing my mum assure her that I had been downstairs the whole time. Even the lady had confirmed this. I was then made to sit still and not go anywhere else. Torture for the kid, for real. Right outside that conference room until they were done. I only found out later when we packed up and got back into the car to go home what had happened. Apparently, there was an emergency fire exit on the side of the conference hall that led to a very small, narrow spiral staircase all the way down to the ground floor. Pretty common setup for my country, actually. It's usually literally a metal staircase attached to the side of the buildings. A while after I had gone downstairs, the people inside my family's meeting heard a soft knocking on the fire exit escape door. Someone in the meeting went to go and check, but no one was there. By the way, they usually started their meetings at like 6 or 7 at night, so it was all dark outside already. Thinking it was the wind or something, they carried on, but a while later it happened again, louder and more aggressive this time. My mum went to check the door, and she said that she distinctly remembers there being a wet puddle on the floor right outside the door, but again, no one was there. This raised concerns with the whole meeting, and someone said that it may be me playing in the fire exit somehow. And of course, as it was narrow stairs, kinda dark, deserted, and steep, it would be very dangerous for a small child to be playing there. Apparently, the knocking was pretty far down the door, as if a child or someone very short was knocking on the door, so everyone decided it was probably me. And that was why my mum had gone down to find me the first time, and found me downstairs with the other kid to her relief. But when she returned to the meeting, the others present said that I had knocked again, and had run away before they could catch me. At that point, my grandma was sitting right beside the fire exit door, determined to catch me. And a few minutes later, the knocking was there again, even stronger this time, so my grandma rushed over and opened the door as fast as she could. Still, no one there. But she did notice the door handle on the outside was wet, as well as the puddle my mum saw earlier. It was then that some people in the meeting were getting creeped out, and my mum had to go and fetch me from downstairs as precaution to rule me out of being the perpetrator of this whole thing. And after I came upstairs, there was no more knocking, and the meeting ended. After they packed up, my grandma went to the caretaker's office of the building to complain about the knocking, and to warn them that some child had been running around at night, found their way up this random building, because it was like 9 or 10 by then. But then the caretaker told her something that made her blood run cold. He said that he wasn't actually too surprised by what my family and others had experienced, and that the building sometimes did experience some paranormal activity due to the river that ran right beside it. In World War II, the area the building was standing on was heavily bombarded, and many people jumped into the river to escape the fire and drowned to death. He reckoned that someone from the river may have come to play tricks, especially because of the wet puddle I mentioned earlier. It hadn't been raining the day this happened, so where did the water come from? Now, I personally did not witness any of this, so I can't say for certain, but the fact that a whole bunch of people all heard the knocking, and how truly freaked out everyone was afterwards in the car, I am inclined to say this might have been a genuine case of paranormal activity. And that's that. You weren't notified. Good evening, Patamon. I am reading horror story. What a little shitling. Oh, you mean the child playing pranks and getting another... I know, right? That's such an... What an evil ghost. I would be actually so upset if that happened. He even got escorted away from the playmate because they thought it was the person was OP. But yes, that is that. Knock knock. Just realised I wasn't notified because I'm not subscribed. Oh right, that's why. Wow, then how are you finding me every single time I'm on then, Padawan? Oh, is it like is YouTube recommending me? Thank you. But yes, that is the next, that was the, what was it? 1, 2, 3rd scary story. But yeah, I don't know about this, but yeah, knocking. You do hear, that's also another cliche, right? Like ghosts knocking. What they call I think ghost hunters call rapping sounds. Oh, 1 second, let me just kick this thing off Twitch. Rap sounds. The ghost really said, I'm going to make your evening as minorly inconvenient as possible. Right. Well, I mean, I guess if it really was true, then it probably was a small child ghost. So I guess small children don't really get up to much, do they? They're not like the guy from the last story before that. Can't warn them of danger. Just trolling. Just playing knockdown ginger with the humans. I don't know. If I was a ghost, what would I do? It might actually be fun to scare people, no, not gonna lie. You know, I have told you guys before, right? I have super realistic knocking noise effect. What, the really loud jump scare one? No, I wouldn't do that to you guys. I hate jump scares myself. It's bad for the heart. But anyway, yeah, like, I have told you guys, right? I used to be a scare rat. Like, I used to love it. I used to love scaring people. Like, like, more than once, I've had some poor woman too scared to walk past me, and I just made it worse. You know, I just moved slowly towards them, and hear them scream. So yeah, imagine if you're a real ghost, you could do that all the time. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I think I'd appear in mirrors. I think that would be a good one. If I was a ghost, I'd stand behind people in the bathroom, you know, and stare at them until they notice. That would be fun. Haunt the bathroom. Oh, yeah, sent me the sound clip. You're sending it to me. Yeah, it's the ones that if you got like a headphones on, right, then it sounds like super realistic. No. Anyway, the next one is called what have I titled it? Dinner. Oh, okay, yeah, because it literally is. Okay. Ghost trashed my dinner. Okay, kiddos, this is one of the craziest things that has happened in this house. This event actually got me pretty angry. I took it personally. About 6 or 7 years ago, I decided to stay in and just chill. I had my phone playing Netflix, and I was just going to curl up in bed for the rest of the night and watch TV. I love to cook, but I don't cook just for me. Like, if I'm alone, I usually snack on stuff that's easy to grab from the kitchen. My weird artist roommate was home too, but he always locked himself in his half of the house and didn't like to be bothered, so he wasn't present for the time period this whole thing went down. I cooked a pretty elaborate dinner. Took me about 30 or 40 minutes. Put a lot of intention to it. Boiled my pasta, sauteed my veggies, made a nice tomato sauce, and I arranged it onto a flat white dinner plate, a normal plate with a normal inclined rim. I didn't do dishes. I simply picked up the plate, grabbed a fork and a paper towel for a napkin, and went into my room. I shut my door with my foot and placed the plate of food next to my phone set up on my queen-size bed. You could say it was close to the center of the bed. There were 2 doors in my room. One goes to the kitchen and living room, and the other one goes to the back of the house where the bathroom and garden is. I went to the bathroom for a quick pee. Was there for about 9 or 13 seconds, as it's directly outside my door to my room. I didn't even close the bathroom door, which is normal because my roommate hardly ventured into this part of the house. I didn't close my back door in my room either. I had a pretty good view of the right side of my entire bedroom. Anyway, I walked back into my room and about 7 steps away from the bathroom, and I'm ready to eat. I looked down at my bed and my food is gone. Not only was my food gone, the entire plate was gone too, and all that was left was the fork and paper towel. At this point, I'm questioning myself, like, maybe I left it on the counter in the kitchen? Did I just imagine it was in my room on my bed? Or maybe I placed the plate down too hard and somehow it bounced away? Anyway, I still smelled the food in the air, and I started to get confused. Then I thought maybe my roommate is playing a prank on me or something, which was weird to imagine because he hated interaction. He was always locked in his room doing God knows what. But I mustered up the courage to knock and ask him if he was fucking with me. Sure enough, he opened the door all pissy and annoyed and said, "What do you want? I'm working." And I said, "Are you by any chance messing with me? Because something bizarre is going on in my room." This apparently was very interesting to him, and he lightened up with curiosity. "Why? What's going on?" I explained what was happening, and he said, let's go check it out. So he followed me to the kitchen, where I showed him the pots and pans from cooking, and then we went into my room and showed him where I had placed my plate, and he said, "Weird." And then he starts looking around my room with me. We checked the vicinity, and under the bed, under the covers, under the side table. And then I just looked over to the other side of the room, about 9 or 10 feet away. and I saw the plate sitting on the floor behind the laundry basket. I picked up the plate and the food is gone. Nowhere around the area, it's just gone. Some of the red sauce was still left on the plate and literally looked like finger marks had dragged the food off the plate, like lines left on the plate you would see if you took your bare hand and wiped it off with the tops of your fingers. Now we were so confused, we were searching for the food. It had to be somewhere, right? Next to my bed there is a wicker basket that I use just for paper when I'm drawing or crafting. I never put a trash bag in it because it just has paper in it. That's where I found the food. It was underneath the paper balls that I crumpled up and threw away the night before. No sauce or drips on the paper like someone had took the paper out, dumped the food into the basket and returned the paper. Now, I'm really confused. My roommate thinks that I'm now messing with him, pulling attention-seeking prank on him, and I start to cry. I don't cry often, but I got super defensive. He probably thought I was crazy or loony or something, and I took it personally. I worked super hard for that dinner. I felt like something mean was done to me. Anyway, he said, "Well, I hope you have a better night. Sorry, no explanation for your food." And he walked back towards his room. About 3 or 4 seconds later, he is back in my door frame, and he's pale white, and he said, "Are you pranking me because it's not funny?" I said, "No, what's going on?" He told me to follow him. We get to his room and his computer setup is gone. Like speakers, his laptop, and what was set up on like a milk crate or something next to his mattress. All gone. This guy loves this computer, like he would never put his computer in danger, like he was linked to it. Anyway, we start searching his room, nothing, connecting room art studio, nothing. Then we hit the laundry room in the back. His laptop is still open but flipped on its back, so the screen down and his speakers are neatly on each side. Speakers upside down as well, placed neatly in the back of the house, 2 rooms away, approximately 25 to 30 feet from his bed. There is no way he could have done that in the 4 or 5 seconds he was gone from my room. We were super confused. I ended up just going to my room and eating what leftover snacks in replacement of my trashed beautiful dinner. I started to think that maybe the ghost was saving my life because there was some sort of poison in my food I cooked and I ate it and I would die or something. It was better to believe that than something had thrown my hard work curated solo dinner away. Anyway, let me know what you think. Oh my god. I had forgotten about this story because I saved some of them a while ago. Okay, this ghost is horrible. Gonna be a bathroom ghost. Yes, I would be a bathroom ghost. Yeah, it's one of those realistic knocking sounds. Yeah, I'll listen to it later, but I can understand. I know which one you're talking about. If I was a ghost, I'd slightly move things, but only a little bit, every time the slightly out of space place. So, okay, so it's not like, this ghost then, who literally... Man, I'd be pissed if this happened to me. I would actually be so angry. Because I understand. I know exactly what this person means. I don't really go out my way to cook something if it's just me either, because I usually cook for the whole house, and that's why I actually cook every day. Like, nah, if I had spent a good amount of time cooking and then some ghost takes my food and throws it in the bin, I would be so mad. That's actually really mean. Like, you know, at least if a ghost is just standing there staring at you from the mirror, like, as long as they're not doing anything, you know, it's no harm, you'd want to fight, yeah. Like, oh my god, this ghost is an absolute menace. First takes the girl's dinner, then takes the guy's laptop. Like, it's just mean-spirited. Yeah, yeah, that's just, that's not nice. that is just really not nice. Yes, clearly, I had, I must have seen this. I didn't even remember about this either, but obviously I had saved it because I thought it was hilarious. But yeah. Yes, I would totally be a bathroom ghost, just because I think bathrooms are scary. Like, as in scariest. Don't you think so? Like, if you're in the shower, like, a lot of horror scenes and stuff are in bathrooms as well, right? I wonder what it is about bathrooms that's just creepy. But, like, I feel like bathrooms are scary, for sure. Yeah. At that point, I'd just rather have the ghost attack me if they're gonna sabotage my meal. I know, right? But you know what? It might just be me, but the ghost put it in the the paper bin, right? I'd just fucking eat it. I would literally take it out and eat it. I'd be like, I am not wasting my time. Because clearly, they only dumped it in the paper basket. It shouldn't be too bad. Like, if it was, you know, my kitchen bin, then yeah, I probably wouldn't eat it. But if it was in the paper basket, I'd be like, you know what, I'm flipping eating this, I don't care. And, you know, it's a ghost hand that's been in it. It's not like, it's what's it called? It's a human hand, it's fine. No germs. Stuff it into my mouth. Yeah, I think that's literally what I would have done in that situation. And, well, about the poor guy's laptop, well, hopefully it didn't break, you know. That would be trash. Right, the next one is called Juno. I know it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's 100% what happened to me about 24 years ago. When I was relatively newly married, my then husband and I moved into a townhouse-style apartment. The 2 floors of our apartment were the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building, and the management office and mailbox area were directly below us on the ground level. This is important for later. The woman who managed the building was older, didn't care for the property, and usually spent most days chain-smoking Camel non-filters in her office, and being a hateful old racist. Imagine renting a place from Juno, the social worker from Beetlejuice, but less helpful. She really resented that we had the townhouse, claiming we lied about me being pregnant when we moved it in, because she didn't want to rent that unit to people with kids. She also made a few remarks about my husband due to his race. She was a real peach, truly. So after the kiddo was born, I was a stay-at-home mum, just busy keeping the house clean and the baby occupied without a car or local mum friends. After lunch, kiddo needed a bath. Anyone who's fed a 9-month-old baby food, my 9-month-old baby food knows the mess that can happen. So I went upstairs and ran the tub. Soon, I had the baby sitting happily splashing in one of those suction cup bath seats. Important to note, it's in the middle of winter and we had no heat, an issue I had been fighting Juno the landlord about for a while, among other maintenance issues, like my arching seal fan or the garbage disposal that was always held up with duct tape and it leaks. Basically, I had to keep a space heater or 2 in every room to keep the chill off. I had taken one of these space heaters in the bathroom to keep the bathroom warm enough for the bath time, and it was sitting out of reach and splashing distance on the top of the bathroom counter. I was standing in the bathtub getting ready to lift the baby out when all of a sudden the space heater started to rock back and forth when it hadn't been rocking before. I had this horrible feeling of dread as I looked at the heater, and I just reacted because I knew I couldn't get both of us out of the tub in time. I reached down to grab the baby seat, ended up pulling it off the tub and dropping the baby over the side of the tub onto the bathroom floor just as the heater got to the end of the cord. It thumped into the shower door, bounced off the edge of the tub and landed on its side on the floor a couple of inches away, where it shut off. Had auto shut off in case it got tipped over. When I looked over to the corner of the bathroom, there was a part of the room that seemed to just get darker, like it was filling up with shadows. There was no smoke, no changing lighting, no windows, so no sun going behind a cloud or whatever. It was just darker. I also started to smell cigarette smoke, Camel non-filters, which I knew the smell of well from being in Juno's office all the time trying to get things fixed. The smell was so thick it made me cough and my chest ached, but I couldn't see any smoke haze. and I felt this overwhelming sense of hatred and malice, like someone was standing there, giving me a death glare. I grabbed the baby and a towel and ran downstairs. I was so freaked out. I couldn't bring myself to go back up there, so I used some diapers from the diaper bag and kept the baby wrapped in the towel and cuddled up to stay warm. I stayed down there for the entire rest of the day until my husband got home. Every so often, I'd look upstairs at the bathroom, but I didn't want to take the baby up there, and I was afraid to leave him alone downstairs. When he asked me why the baby wasn't dressed, I told him about the heater and the smoke in the bathroom, and he went to check, figuring it was an under-maintenance issue. There was no electrical issues, no damage to the outlet, no smoke, no cigarette smell. He put the heater back on the counter and turned it on, watched it for a few minutes, and it didn't rock, so it didn't just rock itself off the counter like earlier. He laughed it off, but later that day, we heard Juno's adult son downstairs near the mailboxes yelling his head off at people. That's when we found out she had a massive heart attack in her office earlier that day, and he'd found her dead in the chair, with a Camel non-filtered still in her hand. Cursed cigarettes. Well, I guess the landlady died and decided to death glare one last time, saying, I don't like the BBB in there. But why? Smoking kills, I know, right? But why? 9-month-old. I would love to play with a 9-month-old. Oh my god. I love 9-month-old BBs. Yeah, odd one. Well, they do say, right, there's like quite a few ghost stories of where like something like that happens the moment someone dies. Like you hear someone calling your name or whatever, or you smell them, and then you find out later that they're dead. Just hope that the ghost doesn't give you spectral power or something, or from eating the food that they touched. I don't know. I'm pretty sure most ghosts are clean, right? Because it's not like in horror games where they're dripping with blood, etc. They don't have a body, so they can't get dirty, right? So they should be clean. They should be sanitary. Even if they touch something, it shouldn't get dirty. Well, I guess there is all those like accounts of people's like seeing footprints and stuff, so maybe they aren't clean. Oh, this is something to think about, actually. I never thought about it before. Oh, I'm not sure. Are ghosts clean? Are they clean because they have no physical body? Or do they also get dirty too if they're in dirty places? Yeah, my aunt dreamed about my grandfather saying goodbye when he did. I did. Yeah, like a lot of people. I can't remember. He was basically like, I'm very, very tired, so I must rest. Oh. Yeah, that like I have heard of people doing that. Though, I mean, my dad used to get the opposite. He used to always dream about like my grandpa and stuff, and so he'd get scared that he was dying, but he wasn't. Not what I was expecting at all. That was kind of sad instead. Yeah. Well, I think she really didn't like the baby, right? She really didn't like the baby. She was very angry. She became very angry ghost. And once she dreamt of him saying, be careful because your mother is very, very tired, and got super freaked out. Was she okay? Oh my god, I need to know this. Was she okay? Oh, so she was okay then. So then that was a false alarm. Can't believe your grandpa did this from beyond the grave. Wow, how mean. Scaring your aunt like that. Right, let's see. Another one. polite ghost. When I read that, that just makes me think of a ghost with the, the polite cat smile. But anyway, my polite poltergeist story. This is my one and only first-hand experience with what I can only describe as a poltergeist. This happened in late 90s. I was young, 21, and living with my boyfriend at the time. Neither of us made lots of money, so we got a cheap apartment in the grey area between the good part of town and the bad part. I worked days, he worked nights. I came home from work one day and said goodbye to my boyfriend as he headed to work, changed, and then went to grocery shopping. When I came home, I walked into chaos. A few things had hit me right away. Every single light was on and the stereo was up as loud as it could go. Tuned into some talk radio station. I knew I had turned off the lights when I left the store because it was a habit to keep the power bill affordable. Not only was the stereo not on when I left, nor did I have it on before I left, the station it was tuned on was nothing that either my boyfriend or I would listen to. It was one of those stereos with station presets and buttons to tune it. The station was nowhere near one of the presets, so it wasn't like a bad reception causing it to fade into a neighbouring station. For those who know, no. Okay. No, I don't know. I think people, I think my grandpa used to listen to the radio sometimes, but I never personally listened, so. As I walked through the apartment to turn off the stereo, I noticed the cat was nowhere in sight. After turning off the stereo, I went looking for her. I noticed that every sink was completely full to the brim, but the faucets were off. All the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck were standing up. I finally heard the cat meow, and I found her on the top of the cabinet of the in-wall pantry. There's absolutely no way she could have got in there on her own. The door was above my head. There was a door with a small groove on the side that you used to open it, no handles or knobs. There was nothing nearby, no table, no countertop, no ledge, that the cat could have even used to jump up there, let alone open the door on her own. I freaked out and called my boyfriend. He listened to me babble on about what happened and stayed on the phone with me while I did a tour of the apartment to make sure no one had broken in and was hiding in a closet or something. Nobody there. He had me confirm that nothing was missing, so we decided it wasn't a robbery break-in. As I was still pretty freaked and on the verge of hyperventilating, he called the front desk of the apartment complex to see if they had any issues around the apartment, to see if someone started to break in and ran off before they finished, or something like that. Turns out there had been an altercation at the apartment next door to us. We had long suspected that our neighbours were dealing drugs, and thought maybe it was related to that. They said the security had to escort some very angry men away, but nothing had happened to our apartment directly. Boyfriend said jokingly that it must have been a ghost trying to make it look like someone was at home by turning on all the lights and putting the stereo on a talk station, so that the altercation next door didn't end up with one of the guys trying to break in and steal our things. He then said something like, the ghost had better do some housework to pay for the higher utility bills they're going to get, and said we talked about it next day when we were both off work. He didn't want to talk about it much in the apartment, but when we left for a walk, he said he wasn't sure if it was a ghost, but if it was, he believed the last thing he wanted to do was get scared. By treating it lightly, he felt it wouldn't feed the ghost's fear. Since it hadn't done anything destructive, and the worst thing it had done was put the cat in the cabinet, we should just let it be. I can't believe a ghost put a cat in the cabinet. A few days later, I got a call from work from him when it was his time to sound a bit freaked out. He asked if I had vacuumed and put the dishes away before I left for work. I told him no, and he said he came back from an errand to find the whole entire apartment completely vacuumed, perfect lines, but no footprints leading to the closet the vacuum was stored in. Also, all the dishes were put away in the proper places. He said that maybe the ghost heard about his joke and doing the housework and took it seriously. Nothing else really happened after that, though the cat was obsessed with sitting on the edge of the tub and staring into it from then on. Maybe something that she had never done before? My own guess was that our polite poltergeist was a former resident who maybe died in the bathtub and was trying to protect their apartment from a potential threat. Who knows? Oh, what about the poor cat? Like ghost makes you think of a ghost gently waking up from your sleep like, my deepest apologies for disturbing thy rest, my liege. Thou hast left the oven on. Oh my god. Yeah, so I mean, if this is true, then that's literally what happened, right? They probably were trying to make it look like people were in. I don't know, and I guess the ghost put the cat in the pantry for safekeeping. If, too bad cats can't talk. Should have asked the cat. Oh, I'm laughing so much just thinking about it. But yeah, that's bizarre though. Imagine if this, like, I don't know, like, of course it's all these stories where people say it's true. But imagine coming home and your cat's in the pantry and like all the lights are on and the water's on and everything. That would be crazy. And then yeah, you're like, oh no, where's my cat? Where's my cat? And then you find it in the pantry. But it's a polite ghost. It's kind of like a hob. You know? our favorite elf things, the hobs. It's basically a hob ghost. That ghost is welcome at mine. True. Same. Same. No need for guard dog when you have Casper. It seems so. They literally have the ability to turn on all the lights and put like carry the cat around and open doors. What I'm surprised is, if this is actually true, how did they never experience anything else in that flat before? I'm laughing. Though, this is not one I'm really gonna read, and this is not like, you know, my official one that I've added. I've already read mine, by the way. But I have, like, what we call the ghost cat in my flat as well. It's, so yeah, basically, as you guys might know, I have a salon, right? In my house, and I get clients there. And, yeah, a lot of people swear that that room is very haunted. But the thing is, we all reckon it, like, well, it doesn't seem like it's actually a human either. It kind of acts like a bit like a cat. Yeah, and Meow, actually my spare bed's in there as well, and Meow did stay there like a while ago when he stayed over, and yeah, he's saying that it sat on his chest. And but like, yeah, some of it is, you know, like people going, oh yeah, this, that, and that. However, I literally witnessed this, and a client was with me at the time, and we were both so freaked out because yeah, I was in the middle of working on a client, and then basically my room has one of those weird spring things on the wall to prevent, you know, the door from slamming or like back onto the wall, I guess, because I've got a door that opens into the room, and there's like a spring there to prevent it from, you know, slamming. But anyway, I usually leave the door open, especially when I'm working. Kind of like a doorstop, yeah, but it's the ones that are attached to the wall. And yeah, so I usually leave my door open, so I never use it. I leave my door like half open. But I never use that spring. And yeah, so I was just chatting away with one of my clients, and I was doing her nails, and then suddenly we heard this big, like, weird sound, and like this really loud pinging boing sound, and yeah, like the spring that was on the wall, it started vibrating like crazy, like someone had like punched it or, you know, flicked it or something really hard, and like nothing was near that. Both me and the client just stared at each other, and we were like, and then, like, we just didn't mention it. We didn't talk about it. We just stayed quiet. She was just like, yeah. And then I was just like, yeah, it's a ghost, probably. And she was like, yeah. Because there was no other, there was no other explanation for it. It was crazy. I know, yeah. The reason we think it's a cat, that we don't think it's an actual ghost as not a person, is because, well, I did have this client before. She doesn't come to me anymore for other reasons. But yeah, she was a bit strange, and she once said to me, "You know, you have a spirit of a cat in your house." And I was like, "Huh?" And she was like, "Yeah, you have a cat spirit in your house. Here." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." And then she was like, "Yeah, no problem." I assume she said it to me because, you know, I'm Asian, and, like, you know, a lot of Asian people kind of aren't so weird about it. Like honestly, it's in Japan, and I assume in China and stuff as well, it's probably the same. You can say you believe in ghosts, it's not as crazy as saying it, you know, in the UK. Yeah. I'm getting to that, meow. So yeah, and but anyway, I think that's why she told me, because she was Asian as well, and she was like, "Yeah, there's a cat ghost," and I was like, "Okay, cool." I didn't really think about it much at the time, because this was just after I'd moved into my flat, and I hadn't noticed anything. But then yes, yeah, well, Meow claims to have been sat on by the cat, and then also I had a new client once. I was doing her nails, and she came a few times, and then she looked at me once, and she was like really excited, and she was like, "Oh, can I ask you something?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, can I see your cat, please?" And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Oh, can I play with her? I really like cats, and, you know, I really like, you know, I know it's weird, but can I play with your cat?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Oh, I can feel, like, you know, apparently, I don't know, because I've never had a cat in my life, but apparently if you have pets, like, especially cats, or maybe dogs as well, they have a presence. Like, you know, not a ghost one, but like an actual real cat. They have a presence, and, like, you know, you can kind of feel them, that they're there. So, like, apparently she was like, "Oh, this, you know, I can feel in this flat you've definitely got a cat, because it feels just like, you know, my one at home." Like, back home, because she I think she's like a student or something, international student who came. And she was like, "Oh yeah, and I really miss my cat, and, you know, being here's made me really miss my cat, so can I just play with yours a little bit after the appointment?" And I was like, "I'm sorry to say I don't have one." And she was just so confused. She looked at me, she's like, "Huh? You don't have one?" I was like, "No." And she was like, "But I swear I could feel one." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. There is no there is no explanation for this, but I definitely don't have a cat." And she was like, "Oh." Yeah, like, she honestly just thought I had a cat, and I was obviously, you know, keeping away from the salon, because obviously it's not very professional to have pets wandering around. Yeah, I wouldn't have known. I've never had a cat sit on me, so. But yes, quite a few people have talked about this cat, and I hope it's a black cat with that's round with yellow eyes, if that's true. Oh, stuff does also fall in our kitchen for no good reason. Like, there, like, literally things would be solid on a shelf, and then we'd hear a crash. And then, like, yeah, my flatmates usually be like, "Oh, it's a ghost again." Because, yeah, stuff just get thrown. And, well, if it's a cat, it makes sense. Cats like throwing stuff off the shelf, right? Yes, so that's my mini scary story. Can't see it. I know! That's the worst thing! Like, what kind of trash cat? Like, it causes problems, but I can't even play with it. I can't see it. I can't do anything with it. I have a problem with this. This is not good. I'm not happy. Right. Now we can read the next one. But yeah, man, I want that polite ghost. Did you ever see the skit with the emotional damage guy? What do you mean? Huh? What emotional damage guy? Where he has a ghost in the house and starts being like, "What the fuck, who's dying?" Well, isn't that basically the polite ghost story? The boyfriend basically said that. Then he's like, "Oh, you're a cat. Never mind." It's my house ghost, man. Yeah, but that's my house ghost. I'm pretty sure if it is real, then it's a cat. It's for sure a cat. I mean, I'm not complaining. I guess it could be worse. But yeah. Right, so the next story is quite a short one, but The Boy in the Bush. My story goes back to 1985 when I was 17 and living the life of a hippie. Yeah, I lived in a hippie commune for 2 years while trying to sort my life out. I lived on a commune that was located on the edge of a national park. This commune is located in the northern rivers of NSW and was pretty infamous in its day. Anyway, getting on with my ghost story. It was a wet Saturday, 3 of us, Black Darren, an Aboriginal bloke who was a pretty cool dude, Dave, and me. Why is Dave just Dave? He has no other, he's just Dave. Okay. We were bored shitless and decided to walk in the bush for just a hell of it. It was great. We yahooed, sang, whistled. Okay, we didn't do any of those things. We were happy enough to be outside, stoned as maggots on good weed, and wandered along an old disused fire trail. By this time, my blood was aching, so I told the others to go on ahead while I pointed old Percy. I found a decent tree to pee against and was doing my business. The clouds were low, the rain was drizzling as I stood there feeling good when, out of the thin mist, appeared this kid, aged, I reckon, 12? He was dressed rather oddly, wearing this collarless shirt, shorts that were held up by braces, and bare feet. His hair was short. In fact, it looked like his mum had shoved a bowl in his head and trimmed it around the rim. His face was pale. He stood there for a few seconds before turning around and walking back into the bush. I fumbled at my fly as I shouted for him to stop. Darren and Dave came running, thinking I was bitten by a snake or something. Or even worse, attacked by jumping rats. I stood looking around and told the lads what I saw. They didn't believe me, saying the weed we smoked was strong, so I must have imagined it. I didn't. That kid was real. Fast forward a few days, we were in the pub. Dave blabbered on about what I saw to one of the old locals who called me over. The old fella lived all his life in town and came from an old timber-getting family. I reluctantly told him what I saw, and he looked at me strangely. I think I know who that kid might have been. Sorry? Might have been? A boy back in 1924 went missing, the old fella, and his body was never found. That kid, I believe, is who you saw, and that was my father's brother. I went back again, but I never saw the kid again. True story. That was the story. This might be true. This might actually be true. It sounds like vague enough to be true, but also more specific enough to be true. You know what I mean? Because you know some of these Reddit stories feel very like, yeah, someone wrote it, but I think this one's true. What do you reckon? So that was that person's great uncle, is it? It would be great uncle. I'm really bad with, like, you know, family thing. I thought it was literally going to be the missing evidence of me. Oh no. Actually, yeah, like toilets are the place that ghosts seem to appear, right, in stories, at least in Japan anyway. There's loads of famous haunted toilets and stuff in Japan. I don't know about here, actually. Actually, there's not many bathroom ones in the West, thinking about it. It's usually like in a wood or camp. Oh yeah, well yeah, Hanako. And also there is actually a very famous place in Tokyo, I like to say, I think it's Tokyo, that's meant to be really haunted. It's inside a park, but it's like meant to be super haunted, the toilets in that park. are meant to be super haunted, and I've seen quite a few videos of that. Yeah, I do like watching those paranormal videos, you know, the ones where people go to a haunted house. That's why I know so much about the Anya houses. I think my favourite JP one's the Slipmouth one and the Hashakusama. Oh yeah, so you mean like more like urban legends, rather than the true stories. Though actually, I might try and see if I can find the really famous tunnel one, because you know, like in Dandadan, the tunnel, the haunted tunnel in Dandadan, that is actually a real tunnel that is meant to be super spooky, and it does exist in real life. When I saw it in Dandadan for the first time, I was like, "Oh, it's the tunnel!" Because yeah, my favorite YouTuber has gone there, and he was exploring, so I was like, "Oh my god, it's that one!" Right, the next one. Yeah, you heard about that. Yeah. Oh god, is it Kisaragi Tunnel? Kisaragi Tunnel? It might be basically. Yeah, it might be. It's boarded up now. It was so haunted that they boarded it up, because apparently there was some actual murders there or something like that, or someone had murdered some girls and put them in the tunnel. I think something like that. It gets pretty weird. Yeah, I think that's why in Dandadan, yeah, the Turbo Granny, she's a protector of girls as well, because of that. Right, the next one is called A Sad Ghost Story. This happened to me when I was 9 years old, back in 2009. I invited my school friends over for a sleepover. We had a great time, ate pizza, played a bunch of games on the PS2, made a mess of my living room, typical stuff kids do at sleepovers. Anyway, once the party was over, we all went to my room, and where we put 4 mattresses next to my bed and my brother's bed. We chatted for a few minutes, when one by one we all fell asleep. In the end, I was the last one awake. To kill time, I read a Batman comic by the dim light of my desk lamp. Once I finished reading, I turned off the light, and that's when I saw the shadowy figure of an adult man crouching down in front of me. I could see the shadow on the wall, and at first I thought it might be a figure created by the dampness of the house. But then I saw it extend its arm towards where one of my friends was sleeping. I wanted to run away, but I felt if I moved, the shadow would come toward me, so I stayed still. I could see the arm seemed to be caressing Nico, which is their friend. And then, in the same position, the shadow vanished as if it had slowly imploded. I lay awake for hours, thinking that maybe if I fell asleep or tried to leave the room, the shadow would attack me. In the end, probably after my body stopped producing adrenaline, my body had already been defeated by my tiredness, and I fell asleep. The next morning, my friends woke me up since my mum had made breakfast for everyone. When I woke up, I stared at the wall. There wasn't a single damp stain. When I came downstairs from my room, I asked my parents if they had come up to my room to check if we were asleep, and they said no. I told them what had happened, and they looked at me like I was making it up. I remember the morning very well. We were in the dining room playing the first Lego Star Wars while drinking milk chocolate. I feel they meant chocolate milk, and eating cereal. We're on the pod racing level, which in case you also played this game, you know it was way too difficult for a Lego game at this time. We were basically taking turns with the controller to beat it. I had told my friends what happened, especially Nico. He told me that he felt something brush up against him that night, but then he went back to sleep. At that moment, my mum told Nico that he had to leave early because his mum was about to arrive to pick him up. I asked my mum why Nico had to leave early, and she said she would tell me later. After Nico left, after my classmates left, I asked my mum again what had happened. She told me that Nico's grandfather had passed away that night. The next night, nothing ever happened in my room anymore. I was alert in case the shadow appeared again, but it didn't. Those days I spent a lot of time thinking about what happened. And as the years passed and I kept hanging out with Nico and the rest of my friends, I realised what happened that night. Though it was a terrifying moment for a 9-year-old kid, it was also a touching moment. No pun intended. Perhaps what I had seen that night was made by my imagination, or something in the room making shadows, or maybe it was a sad final goodbye from a grandfather to his grandson. Sad. Oh no, he came to say goodbye. Chris Abroad went, I think, a few years back. Oh really? Did he? To, is it Kisaragi Tunnel? I need to look this up now. Oh, Inunaki. Oh my god, Inev, you're right. That's the first video that comes up in the search. Inunaki Tunnel. Yeah, definitely for sure. What's it called? Dan was definitely based on this Inunaki Tunnel. But the thing is, Inunaki Tunnel, there's more. There's more than one. Ooh, I might read this. So there is, yeah. We can read this. We can read this. I shall read this, because this is apparently a true story, haunted story, right? Kisaragi. Oh yeah, I'm getting so mixed up. Yeah, Inunaki Tunnel. But I know Inunaki Tunnel, there's more than one Inunaki Tunnel, and like, they're both haunted. Just the old Inunaki Tunnel is the really haunted one. And the second one's not that. Is so-so. So yeah, there is an article on this tunnel. 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm just going to the toilet. I'm back. Ghosts, the toilet where the ghosts are. No, my toilet's fine. It might look, you know, in the BRB screen very haunted, but it's good. It's fine. The handprints are friendly, I promise. But yeah, I did find an article on the Kiyotaki Tunnel in Kyoto. Yes, this is the one. Because the YouTuber I watch, he lives in Osaka, and yeah, I don't know why. Why do I like all of my like, even though Taite, Aoshi, everyone's from Osaka. I don't know why. Anyway, have you ever heard of the Kiyotaki Tunnel in Kyoto? It's considered one of the most haunted in Japan. It runs between Arashiyama and Sagaki Yotaki, and was started in 1927 and finished in 1928. It's still in use today to both pedestrians and vehicles. Only it's quite narrow and long and allows only one car to pass through at a time. When you approach, you'll see a single light, either red or green, indicating whether or not you can proceed. Okay, so they're talking about the new Kiyotaki Tunnel. This is the Shin Kiyotaki Tunnel. It's not actually the Q Kiyotaki Tunnel, which is the super haunted one. There are rumours of times past when the light turned green and someone entered thinking it's safe, only to be met by an oncoming car. You see, there are many spirits in and around the tunnel. They're the people who died while building it, or in accidents, or even those who took their lives, because the forest around the Kiyotaki Tunnel is known to be a suicide spot. It's those ghosts who mess with the light, luring victims inside and perhaps joining them in death. Other creepy occurrences are when people feeling sick or nauseous while passing through. Some, while deep inside the tunnel, hear voices, a woman shrieking, the feeling the car rock as if hit by a sudden gust of wind. Some see a woman in white standing at the exit. Others have reported seeing a woman running towards them after they've exited and jumping on their cars. Sometimes handprints have been found in the windows. Another thing Kiyotaki Tunnel doesn't have going for it is that it's estimated at being 500 meters long. It actually is apparently 444 meters long. Remember, the Japanese word for 4 in Japanese is shi, which other character means death. So death, death, death. Oh, aren't they going to... Yeah, so basically... oh, there is an Inunaki. Yeah, this Kiyotaki I know as well, and this is the one that's got 3. I'm pretty sure that one's the one that's got 3 different ones. One's still working, you can go through it, whereas the old one's down. Is it really you? How do you know? We know you're not a ghost. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the first ever ghost streamer. Literal, real ghost streamer. Well, that would be kind of cool, though. I mean, I'm sure there are creepy stream stories these days, right? I'm sure there is. Even if it's creepy pasta or whatever. I do want to do a creepy pasta reading stream, you know, like the ones which are more obviously stories, but still fun. And, you know, we can read the really legendary, like, you know, signature ones as well, the ones that everyone knows. Anyway, the next is Isegami Tunnel in Aichi Prefecture. There's actually 2. One very old, and the other one is an older Isegami Tunnel. Yeah, so this one, again, like, I don't know what it is with Japan. They keep building tunnels next to each other and closing one when it's too old instead of, I don't know, tearing it down or whatever. A woman, or sometimes it's said 2 children, died in or near the tunnel. Either they were drowned due to a flash flood or were buried by a landslide. Either way, she can be seen wearing white, maybe getting a ride with a truck driver late one night, only to disappear upon exiting the tunnel. As for the children, they've been seen as ghostly apparitions that rush to you suddenly when you see them. Or they'll leave writing on your windows, as if they're little greasy ghosty fingers. The old Isegami Tunnel originally opened in 1897, though it's farther up in the mountains, much narrower, surrounded by forest, is not really used anymore, so even now there are no lights on this one. It's long and gets totally dark even in the middle of the day. Flashlights don't make much of a dent in the pitch blackness either. It's cold and windy and very damp, with water dripping from the mossy stone walls and ceiling above, and forming pools on the ground. This one shares the ghost stories of the first, the woman or the children who died there. Some tales even go so as far as to say the mother of the 2 children can be seen clinging to the wall of the tunnel as she searches for them. I've never heard this one, actually. And of course, the very famous Isegami Tunnel. We'll have chats via Luigi board if you become a ghost. Okay, sure. Would be fun. So the famous one is the Inunaki Tunnel in Fukuoka. It's the Howling Dog. It's called the Howling Dog Tunnel. It's Inunaki. It has both a survival game and a movie based on it. There are two Inunaki tunnels, a newer one, not so haunted, and the old one, very haunted. They're located in Fukuoka. Well, so we can talk about the village surrounding it quick. Although there's enough weird and mystery surrounding this howling dog village, the question is, was there really an Inunaki-mura or howling dog village? Yeah, well, although its real name was Inunaki Dani, Howling Dog Valley, it came about in 1691 when a bunch of samurai families moved in and the entire area was called Inunaki-yama or Howling Dog Mountain. The village no longer exists, but there is one urban legend and myth that a brilliant piece of horror surrounded in creepy myths and urban legends. Basically, the story goes is that if you ever come across this village, you'll find a sign posted that states in Japanese that the Japanese constitution does not apply beyond this point, meaning anything can happen, and it does, evidently. So yeah, that's the urban legend part, that, like, you know, beyond the tunnel that's closed, so the old Inunaki tunnel, there is a hidden village, but no one knows for sure. Like, apparently you're not allowed to go anywhere near it anymore. As for the tunnel, aside from the normal paranormal and spooky things that are said to happen there, one rumour is that if you drive up to it, your car will stall. Nothing you do will get the engine to turn over. There's no one around and it's a very long walk down the mountain. But hey, as you happen to notice a path through the woods, surely following that will bring help. It only leads to the Nightmare Village. A real horror has also occurred back in 1988 when 5 youths tried to steal a man's car but didn't succeed. Later, they captured the same man, brought him to the tunnel and burned him alive. Yes, they were caught and tried. Now both ends of the tunnel are sealed off by large blocks. One side totally impenetrable, while the other has some space at the very top that not very well-mannered people discovered. These days the barricade and inside the tunnel is covered in graffiti and garbage. I guess, yeah, people who like sneaking into creepy places, right? I would not. Is a good Inugami. A village hidden in the leaves. Yeah, Konoha. Apparently, that's what the film's about, right? The Inunaki, whatever tunnel. That came out kind of recently, I think, 2020, something like that. I do remember it. But I just never watched it yet, or anything like that. Okay, I'll read one last one. I thought I'd share this story. Oh, the title is Middle School Gym, 97 to 98. I thought I'd share this story as I've never been able to make sense of it. Honestly, I'd be a huge skeptic of all ghost stories if this hadn't happened. My mum enrolled me in some biofeedback program with a school psychologist after school once or twice a week. Essentially, they would hook these detectors up to your head in various places and you would choose from a simple game they had available and play them. I think it was like ADHD testing related. We were always the last people in the school, me and him. Well, after I finished and was waiting for my mum, I would sometimes go to the gym, which was right next to the front entrance. One time I went in there, I heard a little girl yell as clear as day, "Somebody help me!" Honestly, concerned that one of my classmates was there for some reason in school, I needed help, I shouted back, "Where are you?" No answer. I shouted again, "Hello? I can help you." No answer. Then I looked outside the gym. The whole school was dark and quiet, save for the foyer of the front office, the gym, and the councillor's office. Just like usual at that time. I never did receive an answer, and my first thought would have been, this is something paranormal. I think I would have been too scared and doubted myself, then I wouldn't have shouted anything. But this was my first encounter of anything of the sort, so my natural inclination was to try and help whoever was screaming for help. It bothered me so much my entire life that if the school still stood, I'd probably go back there as an adult and see if I could somehow get this experience to repeat or investigate further. But it's been torn down for 10 years or so now. I did ask around and do my own research, was never able to find any information or suggest anyone had even died there. There were 2 abandoned and unused locker rooms attached to the gym that were always spooky, but again, never any story of why they were unused or something happened there. As a 4th grader, I was not about to go inside them alone unless something was completely obvious and the screaming was coming from inside them. But that was the only other place the voice could have possibly originated from. And that's it. Oh, apparently it's a small town in Wyoming. Why is it Wyoming so haunted? Oh no, that's scary. I swear, in America, Wyoming is where all the ghosts are. All the scary stories seem to be from Wyoming. Why is that? Is it the ghost capital of America? Because I swear, even famous scary stories, right, are like that area. Who knows? The name sounds pretty out of place. That is true. Right, so out of the stories I read, which one do you guys think was mine? Was it the balcony, the blue boy, the camp, the dinner, the knock knock, Juno, or polite ghost, or the gym? Which one do you guys think it was? The balcony. It never thinks it's the balcony one. Does that mean that I may have, if this is me though, bro, I've doxed myself. This has a lot of personal information in it. I'm just saying. Clearly the one you got stoned while living with the hippies. What, and I decide to pee in the forest. Yes. I totally actually am a man. A man who was alive when the hippies were, communes were a thing. A big thing, totally. Didn't sound so. Okay, so basically the consensus is balcony. No. My actual story was the knock knock one. Yes. I got blamed for a paranormal activity. And I remember it to this day. Yes, I was literally 4 or 5 at the time. But I clearly remember this because it was so bizarre. And honestly, everyone in my family was so freaked out. And they kept on asking me stuff. And obviously when you're little, you're like, huh? And I remember it so much. So yeah, so it was in Japan. So it was a river that was around in World War II in Japan. I can't remember where it was, to be honest with you, because yeah, I was so little. But I just remember, distinctly remember playing with the kid and his mum. There was a little boy, and we were playing circus. We were all pretending, I remember his mum was pretending to be some sort of animal, and we were all, doing make-believe. Yeah, I am a bit strange, I think. I do have quite a lot of childhood memories, like when I was 3, 4. I know that's not that very common, apparently. But, yeah, I have, for example, I remember my first day at kindergarten as well when I was 3. I remember telling my mom to go away. Because look, she had spent the last maybe few months before I started kindergarten telling me, look, don't worry, Yumi. I'm gonna come back to get you. You don't have to cry, I'll be leaving you with in this place for a short amount of time, but don't worry, it'll be fine. And I was like, okay, Mom. And then the day came, and I was like, Mom, are you going? Because she was just standing there, and I was like, and all the kids around me were crying, and I was just like, Mom, are you leaving? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, go on then, bye. And I think to this day, my mom's got it against me that I didn't cry or anything, but she told me not to cry. But yes, so yes, apparently I got blamed for something a ghost did. I can never hear I'm tempted to say I'm never coming back. Oh no! Well, you could be typical Asian parent. We put you in bin. But yeah, I distinctly remember that because, yeah, my grandparents, everyone was so freaked out. And yeah, I remember my mum she kept on coming back to check on me. And I was like, what's my mum doing? She never does this. What the fuck? Let me play in peace. I'm playing circus with my new friend. And then, yeah, she made me go upstairs and I was so upset. I remember that. I was so angry. But yeah, turns out there was someone knocking on the fire exit. Like, for those of you who've never been to Japan, Japanese fire exits are really dangerous because they're usually out in the open. As in, like, usually the bottom, there is like a little door and stuff so people can't trespass so easily. But the top, like the actual part that's connected to all of the floors, is usually out in the open. And yeah, so and usually there's a door that connects each floor, right? And then there's just some spiral staircase that's literally out in the open with no protection or anything, and that's a fire exit. So yeah, that's super. I had half forgotten the story for a second. You're playing with a ghost. Yeah, if it was a story, I think I would have been playing with a ghost. But unfortunately, this is literally not a story. It's literally a swear down. It's actually true. So yeah, it was that. Yes, I just got blamed for being a ghost. Like whatever the ghost was doing, knocking. Yeah, and apparently yes, multiple people witnessed this. And yeah, I remember my family being very scared of this thing when it happened. And then, yeah, we were all like, I guess it was a ghost then. Yeah. So yes, once I got framed for a prank of Ghosted. I do have some grievances about that, to be honest. Leaving to get milk, but as a prank. Depending on the kid, they would cry. That would be traumatic. Don't do that. Don't do that. That would be nice. But yeah, I think if it was a ghost story, I would definitely be playing with it. What others? Yeah, I used to also live in a super haunted house. Like, when I came here to England, I moved in with this landlady. I think I've told you guys that I was taught by a German lady. Yeah, she was a really old lady, and like because she moved to England in World War II or something like that. She was that ancient, and her house was like a really typical, really old Victorian house. And yeah, that place was weird. Like, I don't know, you could say that it was the wind, but I saw some crazy shit. Because basically, especially downstairs where she used to live, I used to hang around quite often with her, like, you know, watch TV or stuff when I was little. And it used to be this really common occurrence that her house, like her door, because she basically, her front room door was really heavy. It was like a really thick, heavy, you know, those really old-fashioned doors. And it was a door that you couldn't just push open. You had to, it was kind of like a semi-latch. So you kind of had to push down on the handle really, like, strongly. And it would click open. And you'd push it open, right? So the wind can't open it very quick, like, easily. Like, even me, when I was little, I used to struggle opening that door. But sometimes when we closed it, and we'd be in the room, it would literally, the doorknob would move and open on its own and just open, like someone just came in, but there was no one came in. But the thing is, it was crazy because it happened all the time. It was to the point no one really paid it much mind. But I could not ever explain what happened. You just come back in the middle of the night, spook them, and disappear. Why? Why would you be such a chaos parent? Oh my god. But yeah, yeah, many things happened in the house, and that was only one of them. And yeah, like, the room that used to be my childhood bedroom, there was like a creaky, because obviously it was an old house. It was literally like 200 years old or something. It had a creaky floorboard, and like, if you stepped on it, so if someone was walking, I could tell straight away. That's the reason I was so good at hiding when I was like playing games or something, because in bed when I'm not meant to, because the walk up to my room, it was like a really tiny narrow corridor, right? You only need to be there if you're coming to my room, and the moment you, just before you open my door, you step on this creaky floor. But it only creaks when someone puts a lot of weight in it, on it, so like an adult steps on it. And sometimes I would literally hear it, like, randomly. And I like, then obviously I'd be scared because I'm like, oh no, my parents are coming in, but it wasn't. Sometimes it wasn't. And you know when you feel like, well, obviously I'd close my eyes and pretend I'm asleep because I think it's my parent. And you know when like parents come in and they don't say anything, but you can kind of feel them watching you? That's how I would feel, like someone literally came in and was watching me. So I'd just close my eyes and be like, oh, I'm asleep, I'm asleep. But then, yeah, they wouldn't leave because there was no one there. And that used to happen quite often. And when I got older, yeah, again, you know what? When you live in a creepy house like that, you get used to it. Maybe that's what desensitized me. I started getting used to it, so I just ignored it. Like, sometimes I would have my back towards the door and then I can hear someone coming in and I'm like, oh my god, it's a ghost again. You don't know if you'd get used to that. You do. Trust. If it happens like all the time, and it's been happening since you were tiny, and then by the time you're a teenager you kind of get used to it. And yeah, sometimes it would be my parents, because then they'll leave. I can hear them leaving. But yeah, sometimes it was not my parents. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, yes, you could say, oh yeah, it's old house, creaky floorboards, but it didn't happen all the time. And it would only happen sometimes. And yeah, it was one of those ones that you really have to step on for it to creak. So I don't know. But yes, that's my creepy houses. And yeah, that was my childhood scary story. It's the one that sounds most fake, so I'd say it when I want to scare people. But yeah, it's not fake. I did actually genuinely get framed by a ghost. Can't believe it. Yes. I don't know, which one did I like the most? I think I liked the polite ghost story. I think that was funny. Also, the dinner one was funny too. I would literally be mad. I got trolled by, yes. I got trolled by a ghost, I did. But I would be so mad if dinner happened to me. But polite ghost is okay, apart from the fact it was almost flooded my kitchen. That wouldn't be nice. Otherwise, I think that would be fine. Yeah, well now we're full of lots of spooky stories, so we can sleep well today. Yay! Yeah. So what am I? Oh yeah. So this week I am playing Resident Evil 2 and Bioshock on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So my the ghost is more than a ghost. Yeah, it's true. No problem. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys like these kind of things, I can totally do more. But yeah, I think the next one I want to do like a Y2K themed stream series, like a week or maybe a Y2K week or something. We can play some creepypasta games like, what was it, Jeff? That Jeff game. And read some of the more ridiculous creepypasta ones. that obviously don't sound like a ghost. That really happened. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So, I'm not streaming on Friday this week. Yeah, they did do a Jeff the Killer game. Yeah, that's because someone mentioned it in one of the streams. I think Meow and Skit were talking about it, and I was like, "What is Jeff?" And then I got enlightened to the Chunibyo story that is Jeff the Killer. But yeah, apparently, yeah, there was a new game recently that came out. So yeah, I wanted to play that. So yeah, I want to do that kind of series. I don't know, maybe early February I'll do that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going out on Friday. I'm actually touching grass, so I can't stream. So I will be on Saturday and Sunday this week from 8:30. We'll be doing Leon Kennedy, everyone's favorite boy. Apart from me, I like Chris better. His route for Resident Evil 2, and also finishing off Bioshock. Oh my god, outside. Yeah, it's Saturday and Sunday this week. Yes, it is. I know, outside, right? I can't believe it. Can't believe it, but of course I'm going out to eat. You might be touching grass on Saturday, but you'll pop back. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. So yes, I'll see you guys on Saturday. I thought you were saying, are you a favourite boy? No. I know, literally, I think all the pub kids like Leon over Chris, but apart from me, I think once I said that, you know, I like that Chris is better, and everyone was like, you what? You what? You're gonna see ᕐAIDS. Oh, are you going to watch the film? The Silent Hill Returns? Yeah, did you guys see that? The trailer for Silent Hill Returns? I don't know what to think about it. I don't know. I can't decide whether it looks terrible or great. So I'm just gonna wait. Chris just went through being a depressed alcoholic one too many times. Yeah, I admit, in Resident Evil 7 and onwards, he is very tired. And he seems very... Well, Meow, tell me what you thought of the Silent Hill film, yeah? And then if it's good, if you guys say it's good, I'll go and see it. Yeah, aesthetic, I don't know. You see, I actually really like the old Silent Hill because of the character designs. But yeah, the character designs are a bit weird. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think they should have kept faithful to the original because it's not too hard. It's just American people, you know. It's not too hard to cast people. And it's set in America, so you know it shouldn't be too hard. Anyway, yes, so I shall see you guys on Saturday with oh god, I can't remember. What am I playing on Saturday? Me not having remembered my own schedule. Let me have a look. Resident Evil. Yes, we are playing Resident Evil on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Well, thank you for coming and listening to my childhood trauma of being framed by a ghost. Still can't get over someone calling James me. It was me. James does look like a Leon. He does look like a discount Leon. He does. He does look. Especially the remake James. Literally, especially the remake version of James, literally just looks like an older, kind of bargain bin Leon. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, well, that's good. I hope you guys enjoyed story time, pumpkin story time part 1. And we shall maybe do another one at some point. Age-tired Leon, yes. Okay, well, good night, pumpkins. May the ghosts haunt you peacefully tonight.